afternoon here in Sydney town. Yes, it does get cold here in Australia, which is, everybody who comes from anywhere near where I was originally from, well, not actually originally, but nearly originally from, will laugh at. But it does somehow, I don't know what it is, maybe it's because we're right near the sea or something, but it feels quite cold today, and there was quite a shift in the air. It kind of feels like we're getting towards winter over here, because obviously we're the other way around. Everyone else in the world says, summer's coming. And over here it's like, oh, winter's coming. And, the unfortunate thing about winter in Australia is that there's nothing to break it up. So winter in the UK, for instance, had Christmas and New Year and things like that. Whereas winter in Australia, it's just this big chunk of absolutely nothing. Mind you, having said that, I'm not complaining. I know it sounds like I am, but actually that wasn't complaining. That was me just describing things in a maybe slightly negative way. I'm very, very grateful for living in this amazing country. The sun does shine a lot, and I'm right near the sea and the beach. And, honestly, I couldn't really be happier. Anyway, with all that said, what am I doing today? Let's find out. Let's go over to the computer, because here's one I made earlier. No, that's wrong. There we go. So, what we are doing today is we are attempting to get this piece of music to release. I mean, and when I say attempting to get it to release, I'm not going to get that done today in this session. Ain't going to happen because it's too much to do. And also, it's slightly confused by the fact that I've hired someone to do a mixed consulting session with me, and I think I'm going to use either this track or the one I worked on yesterday. So I'm not allowed to use a lot of the plugins that I usually use because he doesn't have them. He's got other ones. So what that actually means is I'm going to remove some of these. I'll remove that. I can do that later if I need to. And just use kind of the more standard plugins. So I can't use any UAD ones, and I can't use my console one. Which basically means that the kind of rough mix that I'd done before is totally out the window. So essentially, I'm going to be basically kind of mixing this thing today. So, first of all, say hi, you lurkers. We don't like lurkers on here. And if you're new to my streaming world, you can ask any questions you want. Yes, I am making music. But the reason I'm streaming is really mainly to help you good people out there. So if you have any questions at all about anything to do with your own music, if you've got an issue, a problem, something that you're struggling with, then ask away, and we'll have some fun. No, I didn't have the meeting about the mix. That's not happening yet. I've got to actually mix it properly. I've got to mix it properly in order to have that mix consulting session, which I haven't done yet. Which was the thing I did yesterday. It was the thing I was working on yesterday. So just to catch everybody up, let's have a listen. So this is the thing I was working on yesterday. This piece of music I'm working on today is actually part 2 of a 2-part track. So, and I have actually figured out how to hear this myself and play it to you at the same time. So, I think I'll go like that. And hopefully this won't be too loud for you. Hang on, let me just check something. Yeah, you can still hear that. It's a bit disconcerting because now I can't hear myself. But anyway, hang on a minute, it's going to be too loud. Let's turn that down. So this is the first part of the track. Oops. which is what I was working on yesterday. Anyway, it goes on like this. Goes on. And so on and so forth. Right. Let's play the end. Hello, noise. Thank you. I will forget. So it goes on like that. And it ends. I just want to play you the ending so you get what's happening. Figured out the ending of this yet, but you get and do you know that note there, the wrong note? I actually made a mistake, and when I was playing it, and then I just left it in, and then I realised actually that's really good. So there was an example of where leaving a mistake in pays off, because I really like that. Because it goes like that, and then we go into this immediately. Using a familiar trope from house music. This is mixed terribly now, of course, because I've changed it all. Anyway. So that kind of thing. Okay, so that's what we're working on today. So we're working on part 2. What I'm actually going to do is turn all these down and turn that up. Right, boom. Tell you what, one thing about this live stream, like there is so many things to think about before I've really got to sort this out, so they don't, because it takes me about, I mean, just a lot since I've moved the studio around, it's taken me like about an hour to set up pre-live stream every single time, and that's why I'm always late because I always misjudge the time. So I'm going to set this up so I can just start, because that's what it was like before when I had it more simply set up. So Rick is saying, I've been really surprised doing the countdown splurge, which is a certain type of splurge I set at the end of the splurge challenge, the idea explosion challenge, which, by the way, we're doing again for free in mid-May. I think it's the 16th of May we're starting again, so we're going to do that again. So if anybody wants to get in on that idea explosion challenge, it's usually 50 buckingtons, 50 bucks, and we're giving away gift cards because of this ongoing lockdown that we seem to find ourselves in. Get everybody into momentum and having some fun in the studio. So anyway, the countdown splurge, Rick is saying, it made me realise I've been overthinking my music a lot, because basically the final splurge is one where I just really turn up the heat on the speed thing. And that is very good. That's good news. So that is the purpose. I know you're very focused on results, Rick. That is the best result you could have possibly got from this splurge. Yeah. The key to making music is not thinking for certain parts of the process and thinking a lot in other parts of the process. And when I say process, I mean the entire process. So most people tend to want to think in the studio when they're creating. That's not the right time to be thinking. Yeah? To thinking things through. Right time to be thinking things through is when you're out of the studio and you've just listened to it. Okay, that's when you do your best thinking, because you've got the most objective viewpoint. Yeah, and we do our thinking outside the studio, and then we make a list of what we need to do. Yeah, and then in the studio, as far as possible, we don't think, we just do. We just create. Yeah. So anyway, what I need to do is, so I haven't actually got a list for this yet because I ran out of time. So I'm going to make a, I don't think I necessarily need to do that anymore. No, that's old. Okay. So this is more of a release prep session. List. Okay. Now, unfortunately, in this list, because I've literally taken out all of the plugins, I'm going to make a really vague first item on the list, which is basically balance everything, which is kind of a pointless item. I'm going to do it anyway. Okay. And here you can see I do all kinds of thinking outside of the studio. I'm always asking myself questions and things like that, and it really helps. Anyway, so right, balance the parts vaguely. Balance the parts vaguely for now. That'll do. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So let's just start with this bit. Glad you like it, Rick. So. So at a time like this, something that it is very, very, that I find myself doing a lot, which I'm trying to avoid, is mixing with my eyes. Okay? So just then I was like trying to get the level on the, you know, the, what are they called? Things that go up and down. Green things that go up and down, and they turn red when you get to the top. Them. The same height. No, that's not how you do this. You need to do it by shutting your eyes and trying to, just listening to what a good balance is. No, not the fade, it's the meters, that's what I mean. Alright, it's going to put some notes in here, which I might want to do later. Notes. Make the toy piano. I seem to be forgetting all my words today. I seem to have lost the ability to speak or many English words. What is it? God. I can't believe it. Right, there's a word for it, and I can't remember what it is. Anyway, I'll know what I mean. Give the toy piano more tap. I'm not going to do that now though, because I'm just balancing right now. Okay, and that could end up being a bit of a rabbit hole. Okay. Whoops. These two things there. Oh yeah, this has got automation on it. Alright, let's do some. What shall I do? So. Come on. Okay. So Rick's asking, what am I hoping to get from the mix consultation? Which is a good question. So I'm going to answer it. Oh, the good news is that my wonderful wife Sally gave me the all clear for getting a Stream Deck, which is a thing that means I can easily change things and do things just by pressing a button on a little machine. So all of this faffing around that I'm doing with various screens will soon be gone. That's how serious I am about doing this. Anyway. Mix consultation. What am I hoping to get out of a mix consultation? Well, the first thing is that I have never at any point done any form of training whatsoever, like formal training about how to mix stuff. So I literally do, like, anything that I know, I've just picked up along the way by actually doing it. I've not done a course. I've not actually. I don't know, when was it? It was about 2 months ago. I did actually read a book, and that was the first time. Yeah, and I've never done a course, never done a tutorial, never done so. In fact, 2 books. One was by, what was it? Zen and the Art of Mixing or something, and the other was, I can't remember. It was like by Bobby someone. Anyway, Bobby Ozinski, that's right. So I've read 2 books, and that was only a couple of months ago, and that kind of got me interested a bit more in just, the whole thing about mixing. Having said that, though, I have actually done mixing for other people. So I've mixed other people's tracks down. So I've done a lot of mixes in my life. I've never been formally trained, and I've never done I don't kind of know, if you like, what I'm doing. I just kind of do it, and so I don't know if what I'm doing, there could be a better way of doing it. And really, what I'm looking for, because I'm still going to use. I mean, throughout my career, up until I came back to making music and did my comeback album, which I released last year, I did the mix up until I sent it to a mix engineer, kind of sounding like I wanted it to, but without anything sorted, because I only had the tiny little Genelec, so I couldn't actually mix it properly myself on those things. So I sent it to a great mix engineer who did a fantastic job, and I'm going to continue to do that for the finishing, because I'm not really interested in that final, bit. I haven't got the room for it. I haven't got the speakers for it. I've got some good speakers, but I haven't got the speakers for it. And to be honest with you, I just haven't got the time to do that with the amount of music that I'm creating. It's just going to end up in a massive bottleneck. But what I want to be able to do much faster and more effectively is very simply get across the ideas in the simplest and most effective way. And by going to a coach who is, that's his full-time job. He's a mix engineer. I mean, he's not a coach, it's a full-time job. Full-time job is as a mix engineer. He mixes lots of music, who I've kind of listened to multiple times. And I'm not going to say who it is yet, because I haven't actually done it. So I don't recommend somebody who I then, don't think is very good. But I will, if he is very good. I'm sure he will be. But anyway, by listening to his stuff and talk about mixing and how he thinks about music, I've kind of gone, I really resonate with how he thinks about things. It's very similar to the way I think about things. So I want to go to him and see what I'm missing, because I'm bound to be missing a lot, because I've just done it 100% intuitively up until now, which I think is great. I mean, I actually really recommend that for people who are starting out. But I'm sure there's a lot of things that I'm missing. That's just kind of, to be honest with you, it's very much about saving time, about getting to the result I'm looking for much more simply, quickly, and effectively. So that's what I'm hoping to get out of the mix consultation. But I'm not doing it by buying a course. I'm actually hiring somebody one-on-one, because that's actually it's the most expensive, but it is also the most effective way of getting the result, actually having a specific teacher. So that's why, and we'll see what happens. So, as they say, back to the acting. Right, what was I doing? Right, so I'm doing this. Oh yeah, mix can make a massive difference. There seems to be a bit of an issue going on there between the kick and that, but I'm not going to worry about it just yet. I'm just going to balance. What's that tune called? How much is it? What's going on there? Okay. Oh, okay. There was an effect on here that obviously I was doing with a UAD effect that I've now taken off, which I need to sort out. What can I use? He has actually got a list, which I'm not going to get up now. I'm sure he's got Valhalla, so I'm going to go with that. Gated. Check these. That's better. Put on the pre. That's better. I'll get the groove right now. That's it. Something like that anyway. Right. Yeah, I don't think the analogy works like that though, Rick. It's not. I don't think mixing is getting a painter to paint over. It is getting a painter to paint over their painting. That's not what it is. It would be similar to putting it. It's more like. I mean, it's not like this. As I said, the analogy doesn't really work in this case. But from my perspective, what a mix is more like is framing the picture in a proper frame and putting it in the right room and with the right light. That's more like what mixing is to me. Sure, a lot of people would argue with me about that, but that's how I see it. It's not getting people to paint over your painting, and that's like I think that's that is probably something that would stop you from having other people mix your music. But I actually don't think that's a problem. I mean, I'm not saying you have to get other people to mix your own music if you love mixing your own music, or you've got the time to do it, you've got the room to do it, you've got the experience to do it. But if somebody else can do a better job of it, and you're saving time, then where's the problem? I mean, let's face it, probably most of the music that you have loved in your life has had multiple people working on it. Collaboration is not a bad thing. Collaboration is what human beings do best. Yes, we've definitely got triplets going on here. So there's something that's annoying me a little bit about this. I don't like the sampliness of it. It was absolutely fine when I started writing this, but I've kind of since I've changed my kind of what I'm doing. So I think what I might do, I have got time. Actually, I'm not going to do it yet. Right, I'm actually going to do it. I'm going to put a note in. Don't get distracted from what you're doing, Michael. Try a defam on the shaker. I mean, I've already got a defam part in there, but it's not really a shaker. It's more of a hat, which is this one. Sorry, this. Yeah. All right. Where did that go? It's weird. Is it? What's going on there? I'm not sure how to delete the... Hang on a minute. There's obviously some kind of pedal controlling that controller. So let's just go... I hope this works. Anyway, let's give it a go. Basically, what happened was the filter went down because I think a pedal had a bit of a wibble. Oh no, it's totally different. See if I try and plug in this bit. See if that works. Probably won't change it. That's weird. Do I have automation on there that I didn't know about? I must do. How very odd. Now it's changed the sound. Darn. Right, back we go. And then forward we go. Let's go back to this. Let's get rid of you. And let's get rid of you. And that was going somewhere. Automate this. Oh, okay, that's fine. Hello, Guri. So really at this point what I'm looking for is just a volume balance, really. Not anything else more fancy than that. What's going on there? Okay. Let's go to this bit, which I already played around with. And let's change both of them at the same time, because I balance them together. Steady on! Yeah, so there's going to have to be some volume automation on the triplet hats. What I really like in this is the way that the bass groove, because I don't think I quantized this. I think I played it and tried to get a really lollopy feel, so it's not exact. It kind of goes like that around the triplets, because with this track, it could be described that this part, right, is really kind of do you know what the word hackneyed means? It means kind of overused type thing. It's almost like it's something that's been heard lots and lots of times. You know, it's when I say this part, it's this. Yeah, it's like it's sort of very. I don't know whether it's classic exactly. It's almost. It's just been used a lot, basically. Yeah. Oh, that's not right. One. I just think it wants a bit of verb on it. Maybe not that one, but it'll do for now. Anyway, yeah, it's been used a lot, and I want with this, it's like I wanted to do something where it kind of has something very familiar and almost like eye roll-ish familiarity. So like, oh, I've heard that a million times, but then doing something else with it to kind of put that in a different kind of context, which is why the groove is kind of like lolloping along like that. If you like. Just put a bit of the old Omega tweak. Right, here come the pads. Ooh. Ooh. Chocolatey. Ah, that's what's happening. I see, there's some volume automation on there. Yep, alright then. If you're going to play that game with me, maybe let's try a different one. I don't really know about these. You know what I've forgotten to do as well? I forgot to bring my water downstairs, so I'm going to get really thirsty. Where am I? I don't know. Don't really matter. Don't even know what this really does. Let's find out. Okay. Okay, I see. That's actually quite good. Alright. I see. Not exactly sure what it's doing, but what I'm perceiving is that it's like taking some of that was the word I was looking for. Transients. There you go. So by pushing up the intensity here, I can hear the transients are kind of getting smeared. And if you're wondering what transient is, the start of the note, yeah, it's like the, yeah, I can sort of hear that getting smeared. Can you hear that? Yeah, so it's sort of softer, if you like. If you turn that down, you can start to hear the start of the note. Yeah, and then you go like that, and you go softer, which is actually quite good. I don't want to do this on its own. This is the other thing. What's the point in doing it on its own? Let's listen in the context. Yeah, makes a big difference. Probably saturating it or something, I would have thought. Can you hear when I turn this down and the transients kind of start popping out, so you actually hear it come closer to you. And that's one way of creating depth in your mix, is to focus on the transient. So like a kind of general rule of thumb is if you can hear the start of the note more, it will come closer to you. And if you can, it will, I mean, it's not like really, really far away, but it's like if you kind of make that front end softer, and it doesn't really work with attack in the same way, it's kind of a bit more than that, then it kind of comes closer to you. So you're kind of thinking about the 3D space. And one of the things that annoyed me about, not annoyed me, but it's one of the things that kind of was just, I was thinking, oh, I'm going to have to sort that out, was that it was too, yeah, and it was too, and then if you turned it down too much, then it was too, it kind of, you couldn't hear it. So, so this is, I don't know, what an accident, I didn't even know what I was going to do. I just wanted something that I could change the level with. But this is actually the solution to another problem that I had thought about. So, there you go. Yeah, much better. So like forward, yeah, and back. Yeah, it's quite pronounced. I don't know whether you can hear it through the, you know, the crap that the internet puts on it, the stream, but to me it's very, very clear, that difference. I think I'll put it a bit further back there. Yeah. It's sitting in there a little better. Right. actually, it's the same thing over here on this. Because this item on my list, which one? Give the toy piano more attack. There's another solution to that, which is to give the other piano on the other side, the felt piano, less attack. So let's try that. How about that? Ooh. Different solution. Oop. Okay, with this sound, it seems to actually change the nature of the sound itself. It's quite nice. Bypass, where are you? Yeah. So it's not exactly doing the same thing, so I'm just not going to worry about that right now. Actually, I'll just leave it on, it's fine. Yeah, obviously the saturation is more obvious on that part than it is on the hat. On the hat, it has the effect of smearing the front of that transient. Smearing the front of the transient. It's a horrible word, isn't it? Smearing. Anyway. Thanks, Jonathan. Good to see you. Right. Next are these pads. Now, what I want it to feel like, what I like when these pads come in, is almost like, you know, you have a big bucket of cold water in slow motion sloshed over you. Like, ooh. Okay. So that's what I'm going for. See, what it has done, actually putting that thing on there, sorry to go back to this, is it has actually pushed this back. It has definitely pushed this part back over there. So now this part is popping out. So how about let's just try again. I wonder what the omega B does. Let's try that. Let's find out. Is it the omega B? Or the omega N, I think. That's what it is. Where are we? By the way, I don't use all of these plugins. You know, some of them are in packs which you got to subscribe to, and I don't. They're all kind of. These are all mainly demos and stuff. Omega N. I wonder what this one does. Oh, different coloured knob. Oh, nice. It's doing the same thing. What I like about that. When I was playing this part in, what I was trying to do is literally be the laziest person in the world. I wanted it to be really like, oh, like that. And I took a few takes to do it. It's still not quite right. Because what I'd quite like to do actually is have the same part playing on these two different sides, like two different sounds, slightly different sounds on either side, and actually for it to be a slightly different performance. So they're a little bit out of time with each other as well. So it's just really like, ooh, languid and lazy and just like kind of treacle, which I think will go nicely contrasting with the cold bucket of water that's coming right here with the pads. Anyway. Alright. Really, I want to be focusing on balancing as much as possible, but I think there's a bit of a issue going on here. So this is the baseline from part 1. That's where it actually comes in again. So you get, it's like that's the sort of payoff moment from the part 1 of the thing. So you finally get the thing coming back. The thing. Let's give it a bit of let's go Kush again. I know he's got Kush stuff. Just go for this. Making it a bit more present. So alright, so this is like too loud. Definitely going to need some volume automation on this part, but I'm just doing it for now. It's all getting a bit right now. I'm going to leave that out for now. It's confusing matters. And let's just go around this bit for a bit. And I'm going to turn it down a bit in my headphones. Right. Again, because I'm using headphones, I can't really do an enormous, I can't really get, I'm probably not going to get fully into it yet. So I'm just kind of balancing things a bit. stop it there. It's enough. Stop that part there, I think. So Rick's asking, are we getting a mono signal of the track? I don't know. I don't. It shouldn't be. Hopefully, I haven't done something wrong. Let me have a look. One here. I'm not going to hear that mono because it's the monitor. Well, I haven't checked it in mono, so hopefully there's not lots of problems going on in mono. I'm going to start mixing in mono, actually. Anyway, I'll look into that. I don't know why that is. It's stereo. Okay. Maybe something's going on at your end, Rick. I mean, the way to check it is just listen to these two parts. In fact, I'll just play. Let's play this part, which is panned hard left. Hang on. So that's hard left, and this is hard right. So if that's coming out of your right now, then it's not mono. I'll get to your question in a second, Geary. Just let me just do a bit of this. Check that I've got nothing set in over here that's making it mono. No. 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 Hang on a minute. Maybe it's this. Let's try that. Maybe it's that. Alright. Test number 2. Is this coming out of your left? Nothing's coming out now. That's okay. Ah, that's what it is. Yeah, that must be what it is. Because now it's coming up as a stereo signal. Yeah, great. Well, thank you, Rick. That is something I didn't know before. So you've helped me learn something. So there you go. We now have a stereo mix. I mean, to be honest though, it really should be working in mono anyway. This. So if it sounded terrible, I'm gonna have to check it in mono on the speakers. Anyway. Hi, Nikolai. Long time. One of the great things about doing these live streams is that all sorts of people from the various years I've been doing coaching are popping up left, right and centre, and it's great to see them. Simon, find the Heath slider. It's my old friend Simon from my London days, and he's got this description of music, and if you can understand what on earth he's talking about, then that would be great. If you could just explain it to me. He says that certain things are heathy. Right? He goes, oh, that's really heathy. And I never knew quite what he meant. So that's why he's saying, it's definitely stereo now, find the Heath slider. Right, Simon, tell me, is this heathy in any way? Are there any parts in which it was heathy? Has it become more heathy now it's in stereo? That's what I want to know. Or less? Maybe it's more heathy in mono. Rich is asking, hey Mike, do you save each session of a track you're working on as a new version? Yes, I do. And that's what you will do in the automatic music machine. I didn't used to, but I do now. I don't want them. If you're wondering what all of those strange photos were that was coming out on my photos, when you have, if you don't have children, and if you ever do have children, you'll know. Basically, now that there are cameras on all phones and iPads and everything like that, and you've got little kids, they end up like nicking them and just taking loads of photos. Like I walked into the room with George, my littlest one, who's 2 years old, and he was just sitting there with his finger on the iPhone camera button going. So you get like 5,000 shots in your iPhoto. Okay. So there's something going on, right, between this pad and this piano, with the kind of piano thing, where it's just taking over. But I do want it to be too loud. You know what I mean? When you want a part to be too loud. So I think there needs to be something done around that. So far we've got a few issues. Balance of toy, piano, and what's the other one? Olaf piano. I'm not even sure it's balance exactly, but it's like, I don't know what it is. Sort of presence, maybe. And then sort clash between pad, domini, and pianos. When I say clash, I'm talking about kind of them eclipsing each other a bit. So. Yeah, I sometimes spend a bit of time mixing in 102. Can't do it right now because I've got headphones on, and for some reason I can't seem to figure out how to get it in mono on the headphones. Yeah. Hello, Chris. Oh, somebody asked a question, and I never got around to it. Right. Yuri. Doing the countdown splurge, I find that doing more than 2 in 30 minutes just simply doesn't allow much time to write an 8-bar with 2 to 3 melodies in one bass, which feels like the least I should do. All right, here we go. It's time. It's time for me to do another one. Feels like the least I should do this. I should. should do. Right. Why on earth should you do that? And why on earth is that the least you should do? I have no idea why that would be the case. Why does that feel like, and why should you do that? What makes that the thing that you should, I must, I should, I will do? Why? What's the purpose? Why not try something different? Trance music is what you write after the should do, as if to say, for all other kinds of music, what you're saying makes sense, but for trance music it doesn't. Which I've heard this many, many times. Yeah, it works. What you're talking about works for every other kind of music that has, every other kind of music, but not for the kind of music I make. Oh, okay. So, anyway, I'm going to carry on reading the question because maybe you've explained yourself. Sorry, you have to forgive me for pulling your leg. I'm doing it in because I want to help. I'm not doing it because I'm mean and horrible. It's like, should I opt to create one melody per attempt, which feels like the only way to drastically improve my speed? Well, I can say for one thing, Gyuri, that you can go a lot faster. So let's just pretend that what you should do is what you should do, and not just some kind of belief you've created for yourself. And let's say, 8 bar, 2 to 3 melodies, and 1 bass. I can absolutely promise you that you can write that in 10 minutes. I can promise you, in fact, that you could do it in 5 minutes. I'm 100% sure that you could. It might not be very good at first, but I bet you could. I mean, it's not possible that you couldn't, because people can do that thing, that kind of thing all the time. The question is, though, is it any good? Now, if you're worried about, if the reason that you're going slower is because you're worried about how good it is, then guess what? Let me hear you say it. You're not splurging. You're not splurging. Right? So there we go. We've now identified that maybe what it is that you're going slow because you're not actually splurging. Yeah? And I know what the next question's going to be. Yes, but Mike, if what you're saying is true, if you really mean it about the no focus on quality, then why don't I just go on the keyboard like a chimpanzee? I'm like, well, why not? Why not try that? What would happen then? I don't know. Let's find out. Okay. So what, Gyuri, here we go. One melody makes a track feel empty. You're not, oh my goodness me. Have you been watching the videos in this Idea Explosion Challenge program, or what have you been doing? Gyuri, come on, back of the class, stand facing the wall. Naughty boy. Right? You're not making a track. You're making an idea of any kind. A splurge is not a track. Like, hang on a minute. So I'm not saying that the splurge is like you make a track from beginning to end in 5 minutes. Done. It's just you're making an idea, right? Yeah, and that idea could be, right? It could. Now, obviously, that would be, if all of them were like that, that wouldn't be very useful, right? But that would still count as a splurge if that's all the time you had to do on a particular day. Running through a bus. Oh, got iMachine on the phone. Oh no, I better ding ding ding. Save, export, run away. Yeah. So that still counts. Obviously, that's not the only thing we do. Yeah. Because you're saying one melody makes a track empty. So if the track is empty, and you decide that the melody that you do have you want to work on, what do you do in the next session? Oh no, I've put one melody in, so therefore that means I can't put any more in ever. Yeah, my hands are tied because Mike Monday told me to stop after 5 minutes or 10 minutes. you've got more sessions. You can do something else later, right? So this I should do. Right. What I suggest you should do. No, what you could do. I'm going to stop now. Right, Yuri. So what I suggest that you could do, Yuri, is watch the videos again and listen to what I'm saying, like properly, like really listen and understand and believe me. Go like if letting go of quality for you, okay, has to mean that you write a whole week's worth of unutterable crap, like absolute hogwash, then so be it. Yeah, because right now, from the questions you're asking and the way that you're approaching this, you are definitely holding yourself back with all of this should, must, trance must have this amount of yeah. So just and just let it go. Yeah. So I don't know why I just like exploded into life there. So I'm sorry about that. But hopefully that was helpful in some way. So let's go over to the computer, and I've got 8 minutes left. Okay. So go over to this. Hang on. Got to do this. What is it? Number 2? Yep. Right, I've got 8 minutes, so I've got to finish this up. Basically, I'm not going to worry about that too much. I'm just leave it. Maybe just turn this down a bit. Fantastic, Yuri. I'm glad that you took it in good jest, because it was meant. It's always meant in the kindest possible, possible way. And I'm glad you got the message. I do get a bit excited on these things sometimes, which is why it's so much fun for me, anyway. Not sure about for anyone else, but anyway. So this is going back to the parts that come from the part 1. Again, I haven't really sorted out the ending of this. Hello, Edgar. Thank you. So this can do with shushing itself. I'll put a bit of some kind of effect at the end of there. And some kind of delay effect when triplet hat comes out. Yeah, I mean, with splurging, oh, hang on, rhymed. There we go. Yeah, with splurging, you're not making a track. I mean, you're making an idea. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you do end up making a track. It just kind of goes, Yeah, but you're making an idea, so don't. It's like don't. It's funny. It's a really interesting thing that seems to happen to people. They sort of think that it needs to be the thing straight away. Yeah, and if it isn't, then it's rubbish. Yeah, it doesn't. It just needs to be something. It doesn't need to be the thing. So that's going to go. Oh, there's a weird thing going on there. Anyway, I haven't got time to sort it out. Okay. When I say a weird thing, the harp part isn't doing the right part. Okay. At end, harp part is playing the wrong chord. Naughty harp. Okay, so somebody can't access the Slack group. All right, send an email to somebody who's just joined the loop. Sorry about that. It does happen sometimes. So send an email to support@makemusicyourlife.com because you'll probably get a quicker answer there than from me. Yeah, and there's Vanessa, the lovely Vanessa there, who will be able to sort you out. Yeah, so support@makemusicyourlife.com, and Vanessa will make sure that you get the Slack access. I do know it is working because there are people joining. There have been loads of people joining today, so apologies for that. So Rick's saying, could you say just focus on making beats for your splurges? Yes, you could do that. But I mean, that would be a kind of splurge. It would be a beat splurge. Okay. Make sure it's in the right folder. I mean, sometimes with my coaching clients and stuff, I say to them, particularly if they're trying to overcome some kind of lack of confidence in a certain area. So, for instance, in a sort of baseline, maybe they're kind of not confident in baselines. I'll say, right, for the next week, or I just want you to splurge as many baselines as possible. Just have a beat, yeah, and just splurge as many basslines as you can, one after the other. Yeah, or in Giori's case, maybe as many melodies as possible. Yeah, or whatever. And it's incredible what happens when you do that. It's almost like you're putting your intuitive practice machine on turbo, if you like. Okie dokie. So I've got to go upstairs and teach my beautiful children, and I'm not quite sure what we're going to do today. Yesterday, what we did was we listened to their favourite music, and I got them to listen and tell me how many parts were playing in them, and it was interesting. We had George, who was 2, and Archie, who was 4, Charlie, who was 7, and Harry, who was 10. So I can tell you there was some very interesting music listened to. And I think what I'm going to do at some point, maybe not today, but at some point, we're going to write a tune together using the template thing that they've come up with. Because what they were all really surprised, well, some of them were surprised, the older ones were surprised, was that there wasn't very much playing in any of the tracks. There was like maybe 4 or 5 things playing at any one time. So I'll call it the diddly dee splurge. Exactly. Diddly. Excellent. All right, guys. Well, and guys and girls and folks and people and all of you wonderful streaming audiences, people, that's it for me for this week. If I do any over the weekend, it'll probably be just as an impromptu thing. But the next kind of scheduled one is on. Let me actually check. It's always the same. They're always the same time. So the next scheduled one is on. Yep, my Tuesday the 6th. No, yes, my Tuesday the 6th, which is your Monday the 4th, and it's my. What is it? It's my. I've got to use my app. Miranda to tell me. Trust. Oh, shush. Beep, 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 beep. Monday, May the 11th. If you're in LA, midday. New York, 3 p.m. London, 8 p.m. Berlin, 9 p.m. Denver, 1 p.m. And Singapore, 3 o'clock in the morning. So if you're up at 3 o'clock in the morning and live in Singapore, then come and join me on Tuesday, May the 12th. For all other people who are on the other side of the world, it will be Monday, May the 11th. And that will be that same time on that day and then the day after. So for me, I do Tuesdays, Wednesdays early in the morning, and then Thursdays, Fridays, this time in the afternoon. So until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay sanitized, and whatever you do, keep going onwards and upwards.